discovery that this was even this was real, and this was something that people were doing in of itself was one of the biggest shifts. But that came after the realization that we can do what we want, and we can create our life however we decide to.
Was there someone or something in particular that like had that shift for you? Was it something you were reading, someone you were listening to, watching, or was it like more of an epiphany that you had?
There were two situations. The first situation was a friend of mine was showing me like all these YouTubes and all of these guys just like random stuff, like whether it's like opening up boxes on YouTube making millions of dollars, or it's some other guys who were poker players who are just like filming their lives and putting it on, and now like everyone is like following. It was like, it wasn't anything even deep. It was just the idea that like look at the world we live in today, and really like we can do anything with the access to the powers that we have, and I mean like the internet specifically. But I would say that was one of the shifts. The biggest shift for me, which was huge, was I was driving my car during a relatively difficult time in my life. Again, it's connected with divorce because that's a big that was a big change in my life. And I was driving with my kids in the car, and I was listening to an audiobook called Our Mathematical Universe by a guy named Max Tegmark. You're smiling. Have you read this book?
I haven't read the book, but someone recently mentioned it. That's interesting.
So Max Tegmark, I believe, is a cosmologist, and he wrote a beautiful book. And one of the points in the book, he discusses the idea that particles, the building blocks of creation, are taking are in multiple spaces at the same time, and that there's a sort of a branching out that happens where, in a sense, it's all happening at the same time, and this same particle is in a number of different positions all at the same time, like the wave function. In a practical sense, I mean, when I was listening to it, he was talking about a story, and then he played out the story in a number of different scenarios. And I thought to myself while I'm listening to this, and I can remember I felt like shivers, like it was just the most intense experience, because I thought to myself, I was like, wait a second, so if there are multiple me's, like literally parts of me are maintaining multiple spaces, all of the potential realities in existence, okay, that means I don't have to be the person, right, who's doing what I'm doing right now. Meaning, if I don't like where I am, I can be any of the Joshes that exist in any of the the potential quantum realities. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is science. However, whether they're potential, whether they're real, that's a whole nother discussion. For me, there's the very idea that this was existed, and I just was totally just blown away. And I said, I can be that Josh who's inspiring, who's motivating other people, and that's creating a life that he wants. Like that's me. I exist. And after that, everything, just my whole life, everything completely changed. So
that's amazing. That's amazing.
It's crazy.
You reminded me, there's a beautiful piece by Rabbi Nachman where he describes one's job is to reach up into infinity and pull down that which they want to then happen next in their life, because there's this infinite potential, right? And you could either wait for life to unfold in front of you, or you can take steps towards the direction that you want to go in. What's really interesting, I just did a